And
Good to see you.
All right, thank you everyone for taking that brief recess while we waited for Chair Pepper to arrive. Chair Pepper's in the chair. How are you, sir?
doing well. Thanks for having me. This is like Groundhog's Day from last year.
Former member,
Yeah.
earned in this very same subject. Yes, it's almost like you and I do this together.
Yeah. Well, for the record, James Pepper.
And then
Shipman.
Are we live?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right, for the record, James Pepper, and I didn't get to catch all of the testimony from this morning. But I'm happy to answer whatever questions you think I can answer. Happy to kind of talk about how these things might look from a regulatory standpoint.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we were hoping to get clarity from you in the rulemaking process about how the vendors would be able to dispense product,
Yep.
like quantities,
Yep.
caps, serving sizes, things of that nature. I know it's a rulemaking process, but
Yeah, yeah. So what you see in the language, and I don't have it in front of me, but what you see there is two separate authorities have complete control over vendor training, law enforcement presence, transportation plans, the size of the events, the types of products that would be allowed to be consumed, whether it's, just beverages only, or, whether it was just inhaled products that have immediate onset. It's us at the Cannabis Control Board, but first and foremost, it's the town. The town can decide this can only have 100 people at it, no more than 100 guests or 50 guests. The town can say it can only happen between the hours of 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. They have total time, place, manner restrictions and total control over the nature of the event. And then that approval then goes to the board, and we can further, condition the license. You've essentially just given us carte blanche to make these as tight as the town wants and as tight as we want. At a minimum, because we already do this for retailers, we're going to demand that people have liability insurance. So for the kind of dram shop liability, we're going to make sure that the insurance policy says that anyone who's driving away from one of these things needs to be in a DD car or a bus or have some sort of transportation option. There's going to be just like we do now, a vendor training. So the bud tenders are spotting intoxicated people. We're keeping track of how much they've served to people, making sure that, there's already a prohibition on commingling of alcohol and cannabis. So, I just want to stress that these are happening across the country. We're not the first state that has special events. California's been doing them for decades. Massachusetts just started having social consumption lounges, and they've, worked through all these issues. And we have insurance companies. I called one last year and then earlier this year just to make sure that this type of event could be insured from a liability perspective. And they said, of course, we do this all the time. So there are insurance companies that understand the risks inherent with one of these and know how to minimize them. So.
there you go.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that, because what I heard earlier was that the CCB made the rules and then the towns could tighten them up. So you're telling us the opposite. The municipalities make the rules and then bring it to the CCB with the permit ask, whoever's asking for the permit.
We are going to have to develop rules that help just govern the structure of how people apply and what's necessary from the CCB perspective. But if you look on, I don't know if you guys, I'm on draft 2.1, page 4, line 7 around eligibility. The first requirement is that the establishment has received written approval from the local Cannabis Control Commission or the local municipal legislative body if no control commission exists, which may include conditions and limitations appropriate to protect the public, manage traffic, and abate nuisance. So that is a broad authority, and they already have time, place, manner restrictions. That's just inherent to municipal authority. So, they can literally say, I want an EMT at the event. I want a deputy sheriff on call in case anything happens. We need people managing traffic flows. You know, I know with the Burlington Beer Festival, they have undercover DREs there. I mean, I don't want to make this sound scary to everyone, I mean, but you know, they have DREs with drug recognition experts that are just making sure people aren't getting over intoxicated and hopping into a car. You know, I imagine these being very small, and because we have resource limitations at the board. So, you know, we have total control as well as the towns over the size of these, how many people can participate, how many guests can be invited, what the transportation plans getting people to and from these events are going to look like. It's not perfect because it never is. People are going to find ways to break the rules, but I would just note that I've never been to a concert where people aren't consuming cannabis everywhere. I've never been to a wedding where people aren't walking off into the woods, you know, using a vape. So this activity is happening. Any ability to regulate it, to put guardrails around it, I truly believe will be a net benefit to highway safety. But, you know, it's your guys' policy choice whether to agree with that.
Rep. Taylor, did you have anyone first?
No.
No, I had Hooper beat you by a nose.
Like you said, I don't want to scare you. Undercover DREs, I think that satisfies the question to me. Like that is drug recognition experts who are hidden specifically.
They're just in
because-
plain clothes. Yeah, they're just in.
No, I know,
plain
that's
clothes.
what I mean. They're anonymous. What their job is to make sure that this problem doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's their whole purpose, is to make sure that these problems do not arise. So how many would there be? It'd be up to the town, it sounds like.
The town could condition, if the town said you need to have a deputy sheriff on call, to just at all times. And the event organizer said, well, I can't afford that. Well, then they don't get the permit to do it. So, you know, and you've given the town's broad authority.
Yeah.
To demand essentially whatever they want
And they can limit the size of the crowd,
and limit the size of the crowd, yeah.
which you can do that mathematically with the DREs. So many people require so many DREs.
And, okay, so it's nice that, you know, you brought up the DREs and I understand that. But we'll go back to the towns have the right, CCB can write the rules as stringent as they like. That also means they can write the rules as loose as they want. There is that opposite side of it. Just because we're talking about DREs in this room doesn't mean they will incorporate that. If they can write the rules as tightly as they want, they can write them as loosely as they want. They may not consider all of that. And then again, it goes to public safety. So again, I'd say we bring this amendment to the floor and let the full body decide, as we did last year.
Is Rep. Stone still in the building?
I have no idea.
It's very clear. If you take a break, you should.
We'll take a position on this. Yes.
I would like to call a question and vote on this amendment so we can either send it to the floor or put the conversation to rest. So, on that note, I move that the Tagliavia amendment be found favorable.
Do we do an official roll or do we do a towns?
Yesterday, it's up to the chair. Yeah, it's, yeah, I mean, we could do
Oh,
sounds
okay.
or we could do a verbal, but it is not a sheet.
Okay.
Because we do not have possession of the bill.
So
It would be a
it's
floor amendment.
whatever you
We're
want.
taking a committee, yeah.
Okay.
So, all right, I'm gonna take us offline until we can get Rep. Stone down here and have everyone who's present at the